Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea. Welcome to Little Mountain Ranch and welcome to my kitchen. I have a ton of stuff to share with you today. I am getting into a project that I am so excited about down in the basement, and I'm going to bring you with me on that project from the beginning to the end. But first we need to make some gingerbread. Dan is doing gingerbread houses and decorating gingerbread men with the kids a little bit later on today, and I said I would get the actual gingerbread recipe for the gingerbread men all made up just to make it easier when he comes up to actually do that. They're going to make the houses with these graham wafers. We have to make 7 of them, so this makes it really easy just to make some little houses. And then, but we want to have actual gingerbread to make the gingerbread men. I will link the recipe that I'm using down in the show notes for you below and in the pinned comment. But before we get into that, I wanted to give you a little update on the piglets. They're just getting cuter by the second. Look at this cuteness. Is that not the sweetest thing you've ever seen? Oh my goodness. I have Martha going over here, nice and hot. And then I have the turkey bones left over from when we had turkey dinner the other night. I just had them outside staying frozen until I was ready to use them, and I filled this up with water, and I'm going to be cooking this down all day to make a turkey soup for dinner tonight, probably with some baking powder biscuits or something. Let's get this gingerbread going because it does need to chill for a couple of hours, probably not as long as it's calling for because we can put it outside. It's negative, I think it was negative 30. Yes, it's still negative 30 degrees, which you can chill things outside very quickly at temperatures like that. It's actually colder outside, the ambient air temperature, than it is in our deep freezers outside right now. So that will speed up our chilling time. First thing that we're going to do is 2/3 a cup, and this recipe makes 24 gingerbread men. 2/3 a cup. Where is my butter? There we go. You want your butter at room temperature for this. So I just set this on top of the cook stove for a little bit to warm it up because it was pretty cold. Our house stays really warm in the daytime, around 20 degrees or so, but at nighttime it does cool down quite a bit, so I needed to warm the butter up a little bit. 2/3 a cup of butter and 3/4 cup of brown sugar. These piglets are starting to get noisy back there. I'm gonna need to go out and eat soon. Okay. Brown sugar. Okay, whoops, I was supposed to beat up the butter first before I put the brown sugar in. So we'll get it mixed up now. And 2/3 a cup of molasses. Into this, we're going to add 1 room temperature egg and a teaspoon of vanilla. Alrighty, and now into here, we're going to add 3.5 cups of flour. You know what's a really nice thing about filming videos is that if I lose count, I can just look back and watch the video. It's definitely happened a few times. To see where I'm at. Teaspoon of baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1 tablespoon of ginger. 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. 1/2 a teaspoon of allspice, which I'm not going to add because I cannot find my allspice right now, but I am going to add a little bit of cloves, not too many. This calls for half a teaspoon, but I'm going to do more, I don't know, like 1/8 or so. So we'll give this a good mix and then add this into our wet ingredients. That smells so good already. So I think I'm going to add just a splash of milk to this because it is a little bit thicker than I want it to be. Okay, so now we have a nice ball here, and I'm going to divide this in half. Okay, so we're going to take our soft dough and make it into a disc. And we'll put that outside. But now, before we head downstairs, we are going to take the piglets out to eat because they are getting hungry, and I thought you might enjoy coming with us for that. So let's go do that, and then we'll head downstairs. Wonder where the temperature is at. -28, which is -19 degrees Fahrenheit. And Dana's over here trying to get my daughter's car to start. She has to go to work and it is just not wanting to start. Oh, maybe it did. Let's see. Not starting? Oh dear. That's not good. So what we use to start vehicles that won't start when it's this cold, so we have a propane tank and a tiger torch, and this is a metal, is that a piece of a chimney? It's what? Oh, the stack off of a semi truck. And then he runs the heat down and runs it underneath the block to try to thaw it out. So fingers crossed it works. She has to leave in less than an hour. Her car does not have a block heater in it. So block heaters, for those that aren't familiar, is a little heater that keeps the block of your engine warm when it's really cold like this. She's actually leaving to go over to Europe at the beginning of January, and will be gone for the rest of the winter. Otherwise, she would pay to get one installed. We will only leave them down here long enough for them to nurse for about 20 minutes, and then they'll come back up to the house because it is cold. We'll check on Dinah. I keep forgetting to tell you guys these pigs' names. So this girl right here, that is Emily. And the big sow in the barn is Dinah. Hi, Dinah. Hi, Mom. How are you? You are just such a good girl. Yes, you are. Okay, we are going to go check on the chickens. We have a couple of wayward chickens that escaped from the coop that we're going to bring back up. Oh, you got it. Good job. No eggs, I'm going to guess. A little too cold for laying eggs, isn't it? Hi, sweet girl. Oh, you do have an egg in there. Look at that. Yay. We just use a water tank heater in one of these buckets, and that works fine for keeping their water thawed. How are you doing, guys? Everybody's looking good. Chickens are so hardy, especially the breeds of chicken that I have. Barred Rocks and Partridge Chanticleers are super hardy breed of chicken. I haven't minded this cold snap too much, but I have to admit that I am looking forward to the warmer temperatures of the weekend for sure, especially for the animals. Yay! Kate's car is going. Ah, that'll make her happy. Okay, we are down in the basement now and I'm about to show you an absolute disaster. Like actual disaster. So stuff is just kind of thrown on the floor in here. I have some squash over here, some shelves full of I don't even know what over on this side. This space here is my grow room. I have been starting seeds in this space for the last 2 years, and we have been intending every winter to actually turn this into kind of an official grow room space with proper stuff on the walls and painted and all of that, but we just have not had time. That is about to end because we are going to do it today. So my goal today is to get this completely emptied and to paint the concrete, and I'm going to talk a little bit about having concrete walls in your grow room in a minute. We're going to vapor barrier this wall over here and drywall it, as well as the ceiling, and there's a bunch of other things that we're going to do to make this space really functional and to make sure that we don't have mold growth and all of that kind of stuff. I am so excited about this project, you guys. For those of you that are new to my channel, you might not know this about me unless you've looked back at some of my past videos, but growing food is the thing that I'm probably the most passionate about when it comes to the homestead kind of lifestyle. I absolutely love to garden. So to be able to get into a project that is connected to my passion is really, really exciting for me. What we're wanting to do is, instead of using this as just a space to start all of my seeds in between February and March, April, that's kind of the big seed starting time around here for my garden, we want to have this as a space to grow winter greens. As I showed you in my little grocery haul video that I did where I talked about food prices in our area, our food prices are insane. They are a lot higher than most places in North America. And for things like greens, they're absolutely ridiculous. Like, I think it was around $10 for 3 heads of romaine lettuce. So we obviously do not want to be spending those kinds of prices, and being able to grow our own, both our microgreens, lettuces, and doing sprouting, and having an official space to do that all in is beyond exciting to me. So we're going to get into that within the next week or two. Once we have this done, we're going to get into actually growing in this space. So excited! So excited. Okay, let's get into it. These are those turban squash that I was talking to you about the other day. Aren't those beautiful? That one's a little on the right, but this is an accidental experiment. These are zucchini that I had somebody put down here in probably September, and it still looks fantastic. So we'll cut it open and see how it looks on the inside. The patty pan squash are still okay, but this is actually a summer squash as well, like a zucchini, but they are starting to soften a bit, so we'll give these ones to the pigs. Spaghetti squash will store forever. Well, not forever, but even for up to a year, although it might start sprouting on the inside. Those patty pan can go up to the pig scraps. Okay, now the space looks a little bit more like it could potentially be a grow room. So my plan is I'm going to order another one of these big shelves. I think that I got this one off from Amazon, but I'll have to check and see. These are pretty standard. You can get them all over the place. So I'm going to get 2 of these, and I'm going to put them along this back wall here. But first I am going to paint this with a sealer primer, 2 coats, and then a coat of paint on the top of it. And the reason for that is when I was growing, not last year, but the year before, I noticed that the backs of all of my trays were drying out really, really quickly. And I talked to my mom about it, and my mom is a gardener, a really good gardener, and she said that it was from the exposed brick here actually absorbing a lot of the water out of those trays. So we did talk about potentially just framing over top of this and drywalling it to get rid of that problem, but we do have our clean outs for our chimney here, and I would also end up losing a little bit of the floor space, and this is already a pretty small room as it is. So we have to, so we have decided that we are just going to paint this. I have already painted this wall. I painted it before this room was actually enclosed like this, so I'll put another matching coat of paint on that. Instead of using drywall board on here, we're going to use something called puck board, and it is a waterproof wall board, and we're going to use that on this wall, on the ceiling, and then on the back wall where the door is as well. We're going to vapor barrier it first and then seal it, and that is hopefully going to help with any issues with mold. We live in a very dry climate and we rarely have issues with mold, but because this is going to be an enclosed grow space, we want to try to get ahead of any potential issues with mold. We also will be putting in a vent that's a humidity, what would it be called, a hydrometer? Maybe, that's probably what it's called, but it'll have a sensor on it so that it will pull out the extra humidity into the outdoors if there is any humidity issues. I really don't expect that to happen. I don't grow in this space in the summertime, and our wood stove is right out the door here, and that also keeps the air really dry, but we want to get ahead of any issues that might happen. I will link the grow lights that I have. I have a couple of different kinds. One of my subscribers actually sent me a bunch of grow lights a few years ago, and then I bought some other ones off of Amazon, so I will link those down below. But I'm going to take these ones off because, like I said, I'm going to get another shelf like this. So I'm just going to get these moved away from the wall so that I can get it painted, and then we'll be painting the floor the same color that we did the freeze dryer room. So I'm going to have to pause on this for a few minutes because Dan is stuck. It's nice and warm. Oh, good. He needs me to back up the truck. He has the winch all hooked up to it. No, you need me to back it up while you winch it? Okay. So I need to bundle back up and head outside again. How's the icing making going? Good. The thing about temperatures like this is there's no just running outside. You have to bundle up every time, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Of all the treats that I made the other day, the marzipan were the favorites. The entire tray is now gone. Success! I said almost success! So close! Okay. It's really warming up out here. So happy! Okay, back to the house, and I'm going to have to make lunch now. And then after lunch, we'll get into the painting project. Okay, lunch has been had. We've had quiet time. Kids are upstairs with Dan making their gingerbread men in their houses. I will show you those when they are all finished, and I'm finished painting down here, and I'm going to get on to painting this. I was just talking to Dan about the fan that we want to put in here, and he said that we can actually use this chimney flue here because we don't use this one. There was a backup emergency cook stove in the family room on the other side of this wall that we have taken out because we have Martha upstairs now. So we can use this to run the fan to remove the humidity from the room, which is great because we have where we were thinking of doing it along where the window is up here, and the beam above, it's a support beam, so we can't drill through it or anything like that. So this solves that problem completely. The other thing we talked about is potentially putting some silver paper up on this wall so that it can reflect onto the plants. The light will reflect better. But for now, I think I'm just going to paint it white and worry about doing the silver paper another time. And the puck board itself, just to give you a little bit more information on it, because I was asking Dan about it, is actually the board that they use on the side of skating rinks, and that's why it's called puck board. So the pucks can hit it and it doesn't ruin it. So it's really sturdy, strong board that's also waterproof. So now I have to pour this very big bucket of primer sealer into here, pulling all the dry stuff off the top here without spilling it all over the floor. So let's see. Okay. So I'm just going to paint it white in here with this, do a couple of coats of the sealer, and then the floor I'll paint the same red color. I think I mentioned this already, but the same red color that I have in both the pantry and in the freeze dryer room. So I'm going to see if this is going to roll on without me having to brush in all the cracks here. So we'll see how that goes. One thing about painting concrete, if you have ever painted it before, especially bare concrete that's not sealed like this, is it sucks in the paint like crazy. All of this brown that you can see on here, it's actually from, they used to have a wood chute out of the window above me here, and they would throw all of their wood for the winter in through this chute and then store their wood down here. That's what all these little marks are. Okay, first coat is just about done, but we're gonna run upstairs and see where the kids are at with their gingerbread creations. That looks awesome, I love it.
It's like when you and I did a similar thing. You just put the mints on top and I put
very nice. That is awesome.
cave in, but
it's gonna cave in. That looks fantastic too. It is so much brighter in here. Second coat, here we come. Okay, the white is all done. I did the second coat and I've decided just to leave it at 2 coats because it looks perfectly fine. I'm going to do the red on the floor tomorrow because I painted the white right down to the ground and along the edge, and I don't want to end up with a pink strip all the way around the side. So that is that. That gingerbread is the absolute best gingerbread I have ever had. It's really spicy, super full of flavor, and absolutely delicious with icing. Really good. The kids had tons of fun decorating their little gingerbread men and their houses. And I wanted to show you something. Where did that little... We didn't have a gingerbread man cookie cutter, so Dan took a star one and made a little gingerbread man out of it. It's very creative. It's awesome. All right, everyone, that is it for us for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.